All right, there we go. Okay, guys, we're just gonna get this started, and today we're gonna be doing question and answers. My name is Blake Robinson. I am a Reebok One ambassador. I'm the owner of this place where we are right now. I'm the owner of Evolve Fitness, which is a training facility in downtown Salt Lake City. What else you guys want to know? I am a certified strength and conditioning specialist. I'm a certified nutritionist, and have spent the last 10 years in the fitness industry and have a bachelor's of science in exercise science. And I kind of got my start into fitness when I was really young. I attribute it to a couple of things. One, I was really young and I wanted to be a goalie. And I loved playing soccer. However, my mother told me that she would not let me be a goalie unless I went and did strength and conditioning camp with my older brother. And so at the time, 12 years old, I went and started doing strength and conditioning with my high school football playing brother, and started learning how to lift, how to deadlift, and how to do crazy stuff like that at the age of 12 years old. And yeah, it's been a hell of a lot of fun ever since. And I am lucky enough to be in a place where this is my full-time job. This is what I do, and this is my facility. Today we're actually going to be doing, like I said, question and answer, because a lot of times I see people have a lot of questions about nutrition, and they want to understand, you know, what is it that works, what doesn't work, what things are good, what things are bad, why certain things work and why they don't. And so I'm just going to jump back and I'm going to take a couple of questions. But before we get started into that, I'll let you know right now my nutritional approach. I don't have a singular, this is the only thing to do and the only way that you should ever do it. The nutritional approach that I take is a habit-based nutrition approach. And most people want to be told, here's your list, here's your meals, go and do that. And you find that with a lot of diets. You find that with a lot of quick fixes. You find that with a lot of supplement companies, not a lot of them, but there are some that you'll find that's their response, and that's the answer, is that you just download the list, follow the steps, eat the same chicken breast and broccoli every day for the next 30 days of your life, and lose a ton of weight. And there is a lot that can be good about that, but there's also a lot that is pretty challenging about that too. And so my approach is giving you a habit-based nutrition program and giving you the opportunity to take control of your nutrition and make it something that's going to fit within your life, and something that is going to support you and guide you for the remainder of your life. And it's something where, whether you're trying to lose weight or whether you're trying to improve your performance, it's going to be something you're going to be able to implement. And so, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, it is a habit-based nutritional approach. And so we're going to lay out what the primary habits are. And once you get the primary ones down, once you've got those nailed down, there is a vast expanse of places that we can go with that nutrition. We can take you wherever you want to. But I will tell you right now that if you don't get this nailed down in the beginning, if you don't have these habits in place, the rest of it's going to be very hard, and no supplement is going to make up for that. And B, that once you have these nutritional habits in place, you're going to be able to take those anywhere that you want to. And so start here, and then we're going to go in where there's all kinds of variations and there's all kinds of stuff that we're going to do. If you are watching right now, there is on the chat on the side, you can actually go ahead and post into questions. I'll take those ones first. I do have a whole bunch from Facebook and from Twitter and Instagram that I've had a few people toss at me that we'll get to. But if you guys are there and actually watching, you can go ahead and put that in the chat section. We'll get going to it. But first, the 5 primary habits. The first one, eating every 3 to 4 hours. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be a full meal every 3 to 4 hours, but you do want to have something to eat every 3 to 4 hours. And that does present a little bit of a challenge, because the world in which we live is hurry up and go. It's that we don't have time to sit and eat. You don't make time for, that's why we have drive-thrus, because I can sit in my car and eat while I'm driving back to work and getting done with that. So we're not actually enjoying and actually getting a proper hormonal response and getting all these amazing things that happen when we sit and eat. And Eating every 3 hours has a lot of benefits for helping to regulate your blood sugar. It also helps out with keeping you from getting hungry, because hungry is never a good thing. You never want to feel hungry. And it also helps you to make sure that you take control and plan your meals, because typically you're not going to be able to go and actually go out and eat every 3 to 4 hours if you haven't already planned and made a conscious decision of what you're going to eat every 3 to 4 hours. The next habit. So habit number 1 was eating every 3 to 4 hours. Habit number 2 is including a complete protein at every single meal. And the reason I say that specifically being a complete protein is because you want to have protein that is going to help sustain your activity level, that is going to keep you full, and it's also going to rev up that metabolism a little bit. And so protein is something where our body does a good job of storing fats. Our body does a good job of storing carbohydrates. Our body does not do the best job of storing proteins. And so we need a constant resupply or a cycle of that protein on a regular basis. And so if you are strength training, if you are trying to lose weight, if you're trying to improve the quality of your life, it usually is going to involve some cardio, it's going to involve some strength training, some weightlifting. You're going to need to make sure that you are including a protein in each and every single meal. Now, that's habit number 2, protein in each and every single meal. Habit number 3 is including a vegetable at every meal. And I know your mom's been telling you since you were in the high chair, you need to eat your vegetables, and she's right. Sorry. But you want to make sure and include a protein or a vegetable in every single meal. At least this big right here, at least the size of your fist. You want to have that serving size of vegetables in each and every single meal that you have. And the reason is because vegetables are high in fiber, they're high in nutrients, they're high in vitamins and minerals, and they're super low in calories. And so ensuring that you're getting those vegetables on a regular basis helps out. We can get into the helping keep your body more basic and level out the acidity of your blood and getting further into and deep down into that rabbit hole, but we're going to keep it pretty basic so we can get to the questions. The 4th habit is making sure that you earn your carbs. Now, we can go a little bit deeper and we can go into defining carbohydrates, but right now I'm just going to say complex carbohydrates and whole grains. That's the highest quality carbohydrates that you can eat. And you want to make sure that you earn them. Now, how do you earn them? By training, by exercising, by working out, by being physically active. You want to make sure that your carbohydrates are timed before and after those training sessions, because that is when it is most beneficial, especially if you are getting yourself into a point where you're trying to lose weight. It makes a big difference if you can have those carbohydrates before and after those training sessions so that we can replenish the proper food storages and keep those carbohydrates in a better food storage state as opposed to storing it as fat, which nobody really wants. And so habit number 1, eating every 3 to 4 meals. Habit number 2, including a protein in each and every single meal. Habit number 3 is including a vegetable in each meal. And habit number 4 is earning your carbs. Now, habit number 5 is don't fear the fat. You want to make sure that you are eating healthy fats on a regular basis. And probably by the time that I'm saying this, there's probably another study or two talking about fats being bad, talking about carbs being bad, talking about proteins being evil, and the demonification of some macronutrient or some component of nutrition. That is what every diet and every fad that's out there does, is you pick something that you find that little guy you can pick on and you just grind him down until everybody gets afraid of them. And there are a lot of healthy fats. Healthy fats are necessary to make food taste good. Fats make food taste good, and healthy fats make food taste good. And so making sure that you have healthy fats on a regular basis in your meals is going to make it taste good, because I don't care how healthy it is. If it doesn't taste good, the odds are you're not going to eat it. And so making sure that you have healthy fats is going to, 1, make it taste good. 2, it's going to support your tissues and it's going to support your body's vital functions. I mean, it is something that basically makes it so that it acts as a lubricant throughout your body and helps it so that your joints can run a little bit better. You think about fish oils. Fish oil is a wonderful healthy oil. Avocado oils, polyunsaturated, monounsaturated. Those are your best types of oils and fats that you want to be consuming on a regular basis. So making sure that you have a healthy balance of those fats. Now the saturated fats, we get those pretty well through the animal proteins, and we get those in a lot of the foods that are there already. And so there's some discussion and some debate there as well, as far as what kind of fats you should be having and what kind of fats you should be avoiding. But if you're focusing on adding fats into your diet, you want to make sure that they're coming from a plant source ideally, and even from nuts. Nuts are a great place to get those healthy fats from. And those are where kind of those 5 habits start out. Now, real quick in review. Number 1, eat every 3 to 4 hours. Number 2, include a protein in each and every single meal. Number 3, have a vegetable at each meal. Number 4, earn your carbs. Make sure that you're training and exercising. And number 5, don't fear the fat. Make sure that you're including that fat in that meal as well. And we're going to have, if it's not on the Facebook page, which is where a lot of the documents will be posted, there's going to be kind of what an ideal plate would look like. So if you took your plate, how would you measure it out and divide it out to make it hit each and every single one of those habits? So that being said, let's jump into some of the questions. And so give me just a second. I'm going to pull up a couple of questions that we've had from before. And a lot of the questions, one, we're going to be kind of going into some of the diets, some of the fads, and some of the things that are out there. And if there's things that I don't know, I'll be more than happy to tell you I don't know. That's okay, because it's something of being okay with not knowing, but I can go and hopefully figure it out for you. So I had one from my good friend Beverly. She had a question that was, should you exercise in the morning on an empty stomach? Read a few things, but I'm confused. A lot of this comes from either studies or kind of people's ideas that if you eat or if you train and work out on an empty stomach, you are going to increase the amount of fat that your body is burning. That's usually the most popular one that I hear, is that people are like, okay, like I'm going to be cutting the fat and I'm going to be getting rid of it. Now, a couple of things. When you are training or exercising, it also depends on the style of training and exercising that you're doing. And so making sure, if you're going to be doing strength training, if you're going to be doing cardiovascular training, both of those are different. However, I'll tell you right now is that the majority of the time you are going to get a better caloric burn, you're going to get a better workout, and you're going to get a better result from that training session, whatever kind of style it may be, if you have food in your stomach. And the idea is that you'll see fighters. In fact, I even saw a video yesterday of Conor McGregor, who's a UFC fighter, talking about how he loves running on an empty stomach and how it makes him feel hungry. It makes him feel kind of primal. And as far as some solid science and some solid reviewed studies that I have seen to support fasted cardio or fasted exercise, there are a few that I've seen that say that it'll work, and a few that I haven't. But if your goal is weight loss, if your goal is performance, I mean, unless you're a figure competitor and you're trying to just trim off that last couple of centimeters of millimeters around your waistline for the bikini when you get on stage, or for the shorts when you get on stage, or the speed, or whatever the case may be, fasted cardio is not the best of ideas. And it's because it's going to decrease your capacity to work. It's going to decrease your body's capacity to perform during that training session, because we want that training session to be high intensity. We want to get everything out of that we can. And if you're going into it on an empty stomach, you're going to have a harder time of it. Another one from my good buddy Dominic, and he was actually wanting to know my thoughts about ketogenic diets and intermittent fasting. Ketogenic diets or typically is a low carbohydrate diet. And the reason it's called a ketogenic diet is because your body, when your body breaks down fat in the absence of carbohydrates, it creates, we're getting really nerdy here, I'm sorry. I actually put my pocket protector in. Sorry. And so a ketogenic diet is when your body breaks down fat into ketones. And you'll normally see people that are doing a ketogenic diet in the first week or two become really irritable, because your body starts to try and run off of nail polish remover. which is what those ketones are. And it makes it a little bit more challenging. You feel a little bit more lethargic. And the goal there is that, okay, if I decrease the amount of carbohydrates that I'm eating to these extreme levels, I'm going to force my body to burn fat. I'm going to force my body to run off of that fat and the fat source that I have. So a ketogenic diet is a low carbohydrate diet. And I've seen them work. I've seen them function. I've seen ketogenic diets. I've used them with clients and with people before where we were trying to push them past a plateau, where we take them through a carb cycling, which is another form of ketogenic dieting. And we take them through a series where they are high carbs on one day, low carbs on the other, and putting them into a ketogenic state where their body is pushed to burn more fat. Ketogenic diets, they're not something that you want to do long term. They're something that are going to be extremely challenging if you're an endurance athlete, because your carbohydrate intake is so low, your body is going to have a hard time functioning off of that low carbohydrate intake. And so that's kind of a ketogenic. I've used it before. Don't have any problem with it, but I also don't use it as a long-term solution. Intermittent fasting. That's another one where there have seen a lot of benefits, and I've seen a lot of studies that have shown hormonal benefits and resets over fasting for a period of time. And when they talk about it, and I'll be real clear, in one thing when they talk about with the fasting, with intermittent fasting, it is not a complete or true fast of no food, no water whatsoever. It is typically a fast which is no food. Typically people that are doing intermittent fasting, they are drinking water. They are staying hydrated during that amount of time, and it's anything from 8 hours to 10 hours. A lot of times what people do is they'll have dinner, and then they won't eat anything again until lunch the next day. And intermittent fasting, again, it is something that can serve as a reset as far as for a hormonal kind of rebalancing. It can also serve to help you push past a plateau. It's not my favorite approach, and it's not something that I use. It is something that I've used before, and it's something that I've helped people to learn how to do and understand how to do properly, but it's not a long-term approach. And so a lot of times that's what we're going to be covering, is that a lot of this fads, diets, fixes, a lot of the things that you see out there, there's some of it that's terrible and that you should not do, and especially not long-term. But a lot of these, they're something that you can do for a short-term basis that help your body to kind of push past a plateau. And there's also a point where this amazing thing happens. This is the thing that I love when this happens with my clients, because if you train and if you are trying to lose weight, and what that usually means is that you're training hard, you're putting your body in a caloric deficit, which means you're burning more than you're consuming. And your body's making adaptations. Your body's growing, your body's getting stronger, your body's trying to increase lean muscle mass, your body is decreasing fat, it is becoming a more efficient and more powerful machine. And it gets to this point where in order for your body to be able to continue to lose weight, so let me put this the best way that everybody loves to hear it, is that you are going to have to eat more to weigh less. Because the body's smart. Body's not stupid. Body knows exactly what you're doing to it. And you'll get to a point where your body has decreased the amount of fat and has been fighting to keep that muscle and to keep that metabolically active tissue. And it gets to the point where, you're burning and you're getting that. So that caloric deficit gets to a point where, your body cannot increase its lean muscle mass, and your body also will be unwilling to let go of the excess fat if it's not getting enough calories. If it perceives that it has this kind of like, oh no, I don't know when my next meal is going to be. Kind of if it gets to that point where your body doesn't have enough calories to train, to perform, and do the things that it needs to, your body will not allow you to lose that excess fat. And so at that point, what you have to do is you have to actually increase the number of calories that you eat, and then you'll actually start dropping weight. It's the coolest thing ever, and it's everybody's favorite time, because you eat more and you weigh less, and it's because you're changing. Because weight, and again, I'm not a big fan of the scale. I hate scales, because scales show you a correlation between your body and gravity and nothing else. It doesn't show a measurement of quality. It is a measurement of quantity. So that's my quick one on, sorry, it wasn't really quick, on ketogenic and intermittent fasting. Macros. Chelsea was actually saying, I don't even know what macros are and carb cycling is. Macros refers to macronutrients. And macronutrients are basically the big nutrients, which are proteins, carbs, and fats. So anytime you see anybody say their macros or I'll measure my macros, bro, they're talking about their proteins, carbs, and fats. And then carb cycling. Carb cycling is a strategy that you alternate in between high days of carbohydrate intake and low days of carbohydrate intake. And depending upon who you work with or you talk to, that can also relate to high caloric intake on some days and low caloric intake on some days. And there's high, mediums, and lows, and there are low, mediums, and highs. But the breakdown and the simpleness of it is carb cycling is where, for example, Monday, you're going to have 200 grams of carbohydrates along with your proteins and fats, but we're only looking at the carbs. And then on Tuesday, you're going to drop that down to 50 grams of carbohydrates. And then on Wednesday, you're going to go back up to 200 grams of carbohydrates, and then you're going to go back down. Or so you have these high days and you have these low days. And what the goal is with that, to avoid too much of the science and the nerdiness that I love so much, I'm a geek, I'm sorry guys, is it basically keeps your body in a state of flux where it's trying to figure out where its insulin levels and where its glucose levels should be. And because you're constantly going up and down, your body is kind of guessing and trying to keep up with it. So that's what carb cycling is. And it's usually figuring out what your base level of carbohydrate intake should be, and then dropping that down to a level where you have enough carbohydrates to kind of get through that workout. They're usually timed right around that workout. Oddly enough, that goes back to those habits. And but it's something that is kind of challenging. It's usually challenging to stick to a very low level of carbohydrates. And there's a bunch of different strategies to it. We're actually going to explain that on another video. But one of the other one is what to eat, when to eat, and amounts to eat when you are exercising regularly. If you are trying to build muscle and become a little more lean. What to eat. If you go to the website evolvefitness.club, there's on the banner, there's one that is a beautiful piece of salmon, and it says download the Adaptive Nutrition Essentials right there. That goes through and has an amazing list of what to eat, kind of a list of ideal foods that you should be eating. We could go through it, but I always tell people, 1, listen to your mom. 2, the closer to the farm you are, the better off you are. 3, try to avoid foods that have nutrition labels. Everyone's like, every food has nutrition labels. No, it doesn't. So we can go a little bit deeper into that one. Again, guys, if you can actually post a question in the chat and go into the group chat if you have one right now. I'll take those ones if anybody has one, and you can post those on there. So when to eat, every 3 to 4 hours, and the amounts of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, that can be dependent upon your body type. And again, the Adaptive Nutrition Essentials on the website evolvefitness.club, that's where you can download that. And that's free. It's just something that serves, and it goes over the habits we've talked about, has a list of foods, shows you how to do your portion sizing, and it gives you a great start on kind of mastering and taking ownership of your fitness. Any specific diets or exercise to say goodbye to thunder thighs? This goes to spot reducing. And we're only going to take a couple more questions. So again, if you do have a question and you're watching this one live, if you're lucky enough to be able to do that at 2:30 in the afternoon. Otherwise, we'll get to the other questions and you can message them to me later. But spot reducing, this idea of I want one area to look a certain way, and I'm going to eat and train for that one area. It doesn't exist. Where we store fat, where we keep fat, how our body is shaped is determined genetically. And I know this isn't what everybody wants to hear, but just stick with me. But where your body burns fat and pulls fat from initially, from the stores, whether it be hips, chest, arms, back of your arms, it's usually that place that you hate the most is the last one to go. And I've found that true with kind of myself and with other people. But what happens is that your body will eliminate and get rid of fat throughout your entire body according to your genetic makeup, and it will get rid of it proportionally. So that doesn't mean if I do 1,000,000 crunches every single day, my body is only going to burn fat on my stomach. That doesn't work. That doesn't happen that way. Your body will burn fat throughout your entire body, or your body will burn calories throughout your entire body. But it's not going to come from that one singular area that you train. The same thing with food. There's no singular specific food that targets, that helps with arm fat or helps with calf fat. There's no food that does that. But following those habits, staying consistent in your training, and keep going and keep going, that's what will make the difference. And so I wish if we can figure that out somehow, that would be great. I've had people also ask me about supplements and about supplementation and about what works and what doesn't work. Gosh, I say a lot, huh? Okay, so I've got a couple of questions here. So one, I'm not going to name anybody specifically as far as a company, but Jesse has asked me about Thrive, or sorry, has asked me about a supplement company. And I'll say this about supplements. I use supplements. I take supplements. I have my clients that take supplements. However, supplements are exactly what they say they are. They are in addition or to supplement the healthy nutrition that you have in place already. And so first, before you start looking at supplements, do everything that you can to fit these healthy nutrition into your life. Do everything that you can to get healthy fitness and healthy nutrition and those 5 habits nailed down flat. Now, we can always find, and there are some valid reasons and there are some invalid reasons, but we can always find reasons for, why we're unable to eat like we want to, or why we're able to get that nutrition, or, whatever the case may be. But it is something where supplements should be used after you have established a pattern and established habits of healthy nutrition. That being said, supplements that we know that help and that are beneficial. Multivitamins, they're helpful and beneficial. They can make up for lacks in our nutrition and inadequacies or deficiencies that may exist. Caffeine is one of the most popular supplements, and the reason is because it's a central nervous system stimulant. And you'll find a lot of weight loss weight loss supplements use caffeine. And they use caffeine because it works, because it increases your metabolism. Everybody's response to caffeine is different. Some people can have a very small dosage of caffeine, which, if I'm not mistaken, a cup of coffee is approximately 39 milligrams of caffeine. And some people that can be enough. Some people, it can be 500 milligrams of caffeine. Then they actually have that experience, that feeling of, or that weight loss. But before doing any of that, before ever looking into any sort of supplementation, always talk to a professional, always talk to a doctor about that, because there can be risks and hazards with it, and it can be challenging. It can be something that can be very serious with you as far as with caffeine or any supplementation. I will always tell people, 1, know what you're taking. 2, know who it's coming from, and more importantly, know why you're taking it. And so caffeine is something that can help with anaerobic performance. It can help with power performance. It can help with weight loss, and it can help you make improvements along those lines, and it can help with energy. And so I know that caffeine, multivitamin, fish oils are extremely important in supplements that help. There we can go all the way in probiotics, or something that help with gut health, that help keep you healthy. And I mean, creatine monohydrate for performance measures, branched chain amino acids, whey protein shakes. A lot of times I skip those, and a lot of the time people don't think about those, but whey protein can be extremely helpful and extremely effective. Again, know who you're getting it from, know what's in it, and know why the crap you're taking it. Don't just say, oh, my buddy gave me this. Not a good idea. Not because, even if it's your genetic twin and your identical twin, you always want to have those recommendations of supplements should always come after you have healthy nutrition habits. And then there's something that you want to look into adding on. You always want to be careful. Anybody that makes any claim that sounds too good to be true, 99.999999 times out of 100 it is. that's how a lot of the companies, supplement companies, make a lot of their money, is by marketing and advertising and showing you these amazing before and afters and not laying out what this person was doing. Another one that I've got is from Janice, and Janice actually said she had a statistic at some point that the average 26-year-old woman has the same metabolic rate as the average 60-year-old man. Doesn't know if that's true, but if she understands that correctly, basically she has to live on a diet of ice cubes and exercising 3 to 4 hours a day, only to have my efforts translate into not have those efforts translate into actual results. I'm not really sure what the metabolism of a 60-year-old man is, or a 26-year-old woman. However, what I am going to say is that a lot of times, most of the time when people want to have a reason, let's put it this way, your metabolism slows by, I believe, and again, this number is not on the top of my head, but over a decade, your metabolism slows 5%. So make math simple. If we take somebody who has a metabolism that they're just burning 2,000 calories a day as it is, that person is burning 2,000 calories a day. 10% would be 200 calories, 5% is going to be 100 calories. So that means over a decade, that person's metabolism went from 2,000 calories to 1,900. That's not a lot. And typically the reason that metabolism slows isn't due to age. It's due to inactivity. It's due to changes in lifestyle. You think about what happens is that, we graduated sometime between 22 and 25. You go out and into the world, and while you were in college, you were training and exercising and moving and walking on campus and, active and dating and going to parties and who the heck knows what. And you were doing all of this and you were active, and then you go and you get a job and you shackle yourself to a chair for 8 to 12 hours a day. Inactivity, the body was made to move. The body was made to be utilized, but the body was mated and thrives best when it is challenged and given the necessary stimulus to adapt. And so when we go and we sit, that's what happens, is that our body's smart. If we're not using muscle, it's going to get rid of it. And it's not going to keep it around because it's a waste. It's using calories and we're not putting it to good use. And so as far as, a diet of ice cubes, start with those 5 habits first. Don't go straight to the ice cubes. It's something where these 5 habits are going to help as far as with weight loss. They can also help with performance improvements. There's just some tweaks and some variations, but you've got to start there. You've got to eat every 3 to 4 hours, include a protein in every single meal, include a vegetable in every single meal, earn your carbohydrates, and don't fear the fat. Include your fats in your meals as well. The closer you are to the farm, the better off you're going to be. If you listen to your mother, everything would be better. My mom's going to show me this video one day. I know it. She's going to remind me of that. But the more and more food that you can eat that does not have a nutrition label, the better off you're going to be as well. So I think those were the majority of the questions that I had. Before we finish this up and before I head off, does anybody have any other questions? If there's anything you want to do, there's on the chat, on the group chat, anybody can kind of jump in, and I think you guys can chat on that. If not, you can go to the Facebook page and you can comment on my Facebook page because I've got that open as well. If you had any questions on there or on any of the links before. But just in a quick review, eat every 3 to 4 hours. Include a protein, a vegetable in each meal, as well as your healthy fats. Earn your carbs, which means you've got to be training, you've got to be active, you've got to be exercising and moving on a regular basis. And again, my name is Blake Robinson. I am a certified nutritionist through Precision Nutrition. Currently actually completing a long and challenging and awesome course with them that'll allow me to be a level 2 certified nutritionist. I'm a strength and conditioning specialist. I've been doing this for 10 years and I'm a Reebok One ambassador. This has just been kind of a little bit of a chance to chat with you guys and tell you about what kind of my nutritional philosophy is and what is something that can be beneficial to darn near anybody, whether you're trying to increase performance or decrease weight or whatever it may be. But thanks for your time. thanks for coming and watching and for your questions. And we'll get to a lot more of them this next time. And thanks.